everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is today's project. It's a little box which slides open to reveal a small gift inside. So if you stay with me, I will show you how I made it. Here's what I'm using to make my box. I have a piece of rich raspberry which I have cut at 6.5 by 7.5 inches, and I have another piece which is 5 5/8 of an inch square. I have a little bit of mint macaron which is 3.25 by 4.25. I have a piece of our copper foil card which is 2 3/8 by 3 3/8, and I have a bit of the petals and posies paper which is 2.25 by 3.25, and another piece which is 2 3/8 by 3 3/8. And as well as those, I've got some offcuts of the same colours that I'm going to use as I go through making my box. I'm going to use stamps from the Perfectly Wrapped set, and I also have my layering ovals framelets, and I have copper embossing powder and Versamark ink. I'm using the mint macaron grosgrain ribbon, and this is in the triple pack. It's in the autumn winter catalogue. And I've also got some enamel shapes. Now these are rich raspberry, which are in the brights set. Now I did think about being naughty and using these because these have retired. These were in the autumn winter catalogue, but if you still have these kicking around and you're following the same colourway that I'm using, the mint macaron would be absolutely perfect. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to start with my large piece of rich raspberry, and I am going to score it at 1/2 inch, then 1 1/4 inches, and then 2 inches, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score it again at 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inches, and 2 inches. And I'm going to repeat that: 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inches, 2 inches, and again 1/2 inch. Sorry for the cut there, folks. The phone rang, and when I answered it, it was a wrong number. So sorry about that. So I hope you've got the idea. So I'm now going to bring in the smaller piece of rich raspberry, and I'm going to score this at 3/4 inch and 1 1/2 inches. And I'm going to do that on 3 sides. But on the 4th side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And don't worry, these measurements will be on my blog. All right, I have my piece of mint macaron, which is 3.25 by 4.25, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. I've already started burnishing the folds on the pieces that I've just scored, but I just wanted to show you how they go on the base. So the one that is on the outside, that is the 1/2 inch mark, you fold up, and the other two you fold down. So that you get that sort of shape. You see? Yeah? Because that's going to fold that way. And so same again, this one I'm going to burnish towards me. And the other two I'm going to burnish that way. Okay. So now I've been all around my box burnishing my folds, and now I'm ready to do some trimming. Now this is going to be my box base, and at the corner each of the four corners, I have a lot of score lines crossing one another, and I'm going to cut away some of this card now. So I'm going to cut away all of these little skinny pieces here, and I'm going to cut away 3 of these small squares. I'm just going to leave that one. All right, and then I'm going to snip away some little slivers of card from each of the flaps, just to make sure that it all lies properly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to speed up the video, and I will be back in a little while. There's the finished base. So now I'm going to bring in the piece that is going to make the lid, and we've got the same sort of arrangement here. We've got crisscross of fold lines making squares in these corners, and we've got a skinny piece up here, and same kind of thing. I'm going to cut away these 3 squares. This is going to be my topper piece, so all I'm going to do for this one is to just cut these corners right away. I'm going to make the slits that the slider mechanism is going to run along. I'm going to use a craft knife and a ruler, and I'm going to start by drawing on this fold here. I'm working on the inside of the box, okay? So nobody's going to see this, just to give myself some clarity to what I'm looking at. And I'm going to measure up 3/8 of an inch from that line. I'm trying to do this without getting my head in the way. Okay, so I think that's straight. Is it? That's on the line, so I'm going to draw a line along there, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to draw my line there so I can see where I'm measuring from, and measure up 3/8. Okay, so I've measured up 3/8 of an inch from that fold and from that fold, and now I'm going to take my craft knife and my ruler, and I'm going to slice along the line I've made, and I'm going to make sure that I've got the metal edge of my ruler against my craft knife. I'm just going to go over that again to make sure that I've got all the way through, which I have, and then I'll do the same on this side. I'm going to start and trim all the way down to the end. Okay. So I now have 2 slits cut into my card. Now I'm going to make those slightly wider. I'm just following along the line that I've just cut, and it's about 1/16 of an inch. I'm just kind of doing it by eye. There we go. Okay, and just going to cut those away. There we go. So I have 2 slits in my card base. I've cut 2 pieces of Blackberry Bliss, and they are 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch, and I have scored and folded at 1/4 inch and at 1/2 inch, then flipped it over and scored at 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, and then I've folded it so that I get that sort of profile. You see? Put it on the back of my hand. It's quite small, but this is going to be the slider mechanism, so I have cut 2 of them just the same. And to save a bit of time, I have put some tear and tape onto my box because I'm going to start assembling it in just a moment. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sliders in. So they go through into the slit, and as you can see, there's room on either side for them to move up and down, and then they just pop out onto the outside. And I'm going to put some tear and tape across there, ready for later on, and also to help keep them in place. All right, so there's one. I'm just going to put the other one into place. So the 2 little legs go through the slit in the card. Hope you can see that. There we go, just like that. There they are. And then you just open them out. You need to make sure the inside bit stays on the inside of the card, and I think I've folded that one a bit wonky, but never mind. That's okay, that's fine. We're just going to stop its tricks with a bit of the tear and tape just to keep it in place. Alright, so I'm going to leave the backing on the tear and tape for the moment, but I've already applied some to my flaps and I've applied some to the insides here. So I'm just going to go ahead now and create my box. I'm going to start by taking the tape backing off the flaps. We'll just bring those round and close them up. Yep. And I close up the short ends first, because that will help keep the structure of the box rigid. I'll put those bits out of the way so they don't get trapped. Go on, slide. That's it. That's what you're meant to do. And the same thing for this side. And I do like that finish. Right, now when I bring these pieces over, I want to make sure I don't stick them down so tight that my slider won't move. All right, so I want to give it maybe a little bit of ease here. Just checking that that will still move, and it will. And the same thing on this side. So just easing it into place, just gently, and checking that the slider will still move. And there you go, there's the base of my box. I just need to put a pretty piece of paper inside there, and that will be complete. I have the top of my box. I put the tape on the lid of my box and I've put it on the flaps here. That's not a mistake, right? And I put them on these flaps on the other side. Right, okay, 3. I've got my... I'm ready to construct the lid of the box as well. 3, 2, 1. Get rid of that. Don't need that. I'm going to construct the lid of my box, so I've put my tear and tape along these 3 flaps, and if I turn it over, I have them on these 4 and also on this one. Now that's not a mistake, all right, because I'm going to fold this one back this way, and I'm going to do that first. So this is going to be the top of my box, but I'm going to put another panel on top of that so you won't see that piece. Right, so now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the tape on the small flaps. I'm not going to remove the tape, I'm going to remove the tape backing. I say it every time. I have a brain problem with that. And that will come round. Oops, I need to remove that a little bit there and that a little bit there. Yep. Otherwise it won't stick down properly. So, okay, someone's bring those pieces round and take the backing off this piece. Why am I struggling with no fingernails when I have my piercing tool to hand? I don't know. If I had brains, I'd be a danger. There we go, and there is my sliding box lid. If I bring in the base, that is going to fit onto that. Got a scrap of rich raspberry card, and I've mounted up the stamps onto my clear block, and I've used a little gift. And I'm going to ink that up with some Versamark. And before I apply it to my card, I'm just going to rub the card over with my embossing buddy. Okay, silicone mat is in place because this is a photopolymer stamp, and I'm going to press down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's inked up quite well. So my copper embossing powder, where's my spoon? Here it is. Okay, I could do with a bit more. Okay, so that's well coated. Put the back onto everything. Get the heat tool going while I clear the decks here. So I'm going to take this over to my Big Shot, and I'm going to cut it out with, what's the smallest one that will fit on there? There's that one. Will this one be too small? Yeah, I think I'm going to use that one. And I'm also going to use one of the scalloped punches and cut out a piece of mint macaron. Look, I've got a scrap here. I think that's about the right size. So I'm going to take these over to my Big Shot and I'm going to cut them out. And here they are. Those two pieces have now been die cut out. Now, when I cut the mint macaron piece out initially, I used that size of die, which was too big. I didn't like the way that it looked with the wording on top of it. So I changed my mind and I cut it out again using that die. So now I can go ahead and assemble these pieces together. And as I've been using a bit of wet glue handy, and that's what I'm going to use. And snail would be fine for this. I'm just using wet glue because it happens to be what I have on my table. And why not? And of course the advantage of using a liquid glue is that you have a little bit of wiggle time. It gives you some minutes to to make sure that everything is nice and straight and even. And if you're like me, you will appreciate that. Alright, so that's looking quite pretty. I'm just going to add in those enamel shapes. Over here. Now look, if these weren't retired, wouldn't that be perfect on there? But I'm not going to tease you. I'm going to go with the rich raspberry, and I think I'll use the little stars, because you have stars and you have hearts and you have two sizes of dots, but we'll just go with the rich raspberry stars, and they just fill in that shape quite nicely. I'm going to make the topper for my box now, and this is a piece of mint macaron. Now the correct measurement for this is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. I think I said something else earlier on, but don't worry, the right measurement will be on my blog, okay? So if you're not sure, you can go there. So I'm going to apply some tear and tape just along these pieces, these panels here. This is a panel of rich raspberry, which I've cut to 2.5 inches by 3.5, so I'm going to put that on top. And again, it's much easier to do your decoration before you assemble the box. So this is one of those occasions where perfect planning prevents poor performance. And I usually just throw things together in any old shape and then get halfway through and decide, oh, that would have been nice. Is anyone else as daft as me? Piece of copper foil and one of my pieces of DSP, and it's a very, very snug fit. There's just a tiny rim of the copper showing around, and I could, if I wished, get a punch or something and cut out the centre of the copper foil. It's called gutting, and I could get that and save it for later, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to live dangerously and use up the whole panel. And I have ordered extra of this copper foil because I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I don't know whether or not Stampin' Up will retire it when the catalogue sales period comes to an end at the end of December. I'm taking no chances just in case they do. I'm stocking up. Okay, so if I bring back my other panel, that now sits on top like that. So again with the wet glue, and let's mat that up. And that is, do you know what, that's pretty enough on its own, isn't it? Wouldn't that be a lovely picture on your wall? Yes, I like that. Okay, so finally I'm going to bring back the stamped panel that I did, and this I think I will pop up on some dimensionals, because why not? There we are. That's looking quite nice. going to bring back the box lid, and I'm now going to mount the panel onto the box lid, and I want to make sure that they are that way up so that the writing is face up when the top of the open end of the box is at the top. Okay, and again I'm going to use a nice amount of wet glue on the top of this. I'll be quite generous with it, and this should be very, very slightly larger than the underlying box. It should just overlap just a tiny amount. Which it pretty well does. And now that is starting to look really quite pretty, I think. Here's my box base, and I've just lined the inside of it with a piece of the same DSP, just the other side of it. So that's that side and that's that side. And I've just lined it off to make it look nice and finished. And now I am going to put the box together. Now I've pushed the two slider pieces right to the top of the slots that I cut, and I'm going to take off the backing from the tear and tape, and I'm also going to run some liquid adhesive over the top of that as well. And there's two reasons for this. One is that it gives you a little bit of wiggle time, and the other is that it will make the adhesive stronger. Okay, so now I'm bringing my two pieces together, and I am just gently pressing that closed and just applying a little bit of pressure just for a few seconds. And while the adhesive's having time to set, I'm just going to talk you through the little gift that I'm going to pop inside of that box. And I've just made a little envelope with the envelope punch board to fit a piece of card that is 2 inches by 3 inches, and I've created a belly band using stamps from the same set and in the same colourway, so the copper on the rich raspberry with the mint macaron, and this is where I've used that mint macaron grosgrain ribbon. And if I just slide that off and open that up inside, this is my little gift, and I've made a pair of earrings using the pine cones embellishments, and just a couple of crystals there. So very easy, very inexpensive gift to make, and you never know, this might be my Secret Santa gift for the ladies, because if I add up the unit cost of those earrings, how much it actually cost me to make each one, then that is going to come to less than £1. So that is within my threshold. So you never know, this may be in my Secret Santa this year. That's had a few minutes to set up now. So if I pull out the drawer, I can pop my little gift inside, and there it is. So there it is, all finished with the little present inside, and it just slides closed and it stays closed nice and securely. So I do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if so, then please do click that like button, leave me a comment. If you've really enjoyed it, then subscribe to my channel. If you want the correct measurements for the card and paper that I used to make this, then please do visit my blog, because I will post the correct measurements on there. I also have a Facebook page, and I have an online stamping store where you can get hold of the items that I have used in this project today. I will be posting more videos very soon, but for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you again. Bye bye.